you think? In Sefer Yeshua, the gvul of zvul of every shevet is described from city to city, an entire border of every single shevet. It's not emes that Zvulun had a chelik at the shore of the Mediterranean. It's not emes. Some Rishonim hotaich that it was at the edge of the Kinneret. The day taich l'chayf yamin to mean the Kinneret. Which the Kinneret is not a saltwater lake. It doesn't have any chalazin in it. And others, the Gra said, has the kasha, what's l'chayf yamin yishkai. So he says there is a ritzua of Zvulun that went to the yam, a thin ritzua. If you take any map, you take an Article Yeshua, Judaica Yeshua, anybody who ever made a map, you'll see Zevulen is not on the banks of the Mediterranean. Those who stick in the Article, they stick in the Graz Shita, they stick in a thin line that leads to the Yam. So what's Pshat Zevulen, L'chayfam, and Yishkai, and Zevulen is a ship? The answer is Zevulen were the sailors in Klal Yisrael, no question. They were the ones who went on ships and caught whatever had to be caught. But you have to understand, the murex is caught a few yards offshore. The water, as I told you, doesn't have to be very deep. It's 12 feet deep. You can catch chalazim. You don't need one shevet. There were many. Usher had a big chelik on the border of the Mediterranean. What's with Zvulun? Why Dafka Zvulun? Why Zvulun? Why not Usher? Why not the other shvatim that were on the bank of the Mediterranean? Now, if you hold, like the Radzina, that it's a deep water fish, then, or any deep water creature, then you need sailors. You can't go out to the sea to catch things that are deep water creatures unless you have sailors. You need Zevulen. Zevulen who lived in the sea. They were the sailors. But to go and say that the murex has to come on to Zevulen is a davar pella, because if you look at the film, I saw they produced the film. People go out in the little, it's like a rowboat, just it's a motorboat. Little boats, and they jump over the edge, and they go down, and they come up for 5 minutes later with a basket with the snails that was put there before, and they go back and get it. You don't need sailors for that. You don't need a sailorman to go and get it. Now, I wrote this kasha. It seems to be a big kasha. So the answer I got didn't answer the question. He just says, Masha Kasafta, number 8, Lahakshas and Murkas of Chalaz, and Yurex of Chalaz, Hainus is Samach L'Chayf. Lamulan Zvulun. Unshvatim Kiblu Nachal Alayam. That's what I wrote to them. So he writes, what do you mean? B'Krov, a Parshas Vayisrik, Sibahedya, Zvulun L'Chayf Yamim Yishkai. The Gras Kasha. He doesn't write it from the Gra. Mavur, Shekiblu Nachal L'Chayf Yam Atzidai, V'yir Chayna Ayav Samach L'Tzor. V'aygamar Psachim, Akif Yama Asista, B'Yirasa, Badgash Kludim is Zvulun Kasi, Zvulun L'Chayf Yam Yishkai. So as a sailor, they checked him out, and he came and says, Zvulun, it's Takasam. It has nothing to do with the kasha. So it's very, very difficult for me to understand this last thing. Now, I don't want to base what I'm saying on this last nakuda, because like I said, 99 out of 100 Yidden are positive that Zvulun's chelik was on the banks of the Mediterranean. So I'm going to sound like I'm coming with some kukushita and saying this. So, Mr. Hashem, someday we'll get there in Yeshua, and I'll explain how many Mefarshim is this kasha that has to do with the pasuk. So this, I don't invite to walk away and say, this is my main kasha. To me, it's a kasha. To you, maybe it's not. You don't know if I'm saying makes sense or doesn't make sense. I don't know if you have an art scroll, Yeshua. You don't have to read the words of Nach, that's for sure. You just look at the map. You look at the map, you'll see Zevulen, and any map of Eretz Yisrael, Zevulen does not have a chelik on the banks of the Mediterranean. Either it's on the banks of the Kinneret, or it's landlocked, or if you go to Gra, it sticks out till the year. So, let me sum up and tell you the problems. I don't think it's clear at all. It doesn't say a word about whether the sailors are that. It says Zvulun was upset, and they said, Kulam tzrichen lach. That's Lashon Hara. Everyone needs you for the chalaz. It makes zero sense. Yekilu Zvulun was the only one on the Mediterranean. Let's say Zvulun was on the Mediterranean. The only one? Everybody was there. Usher had the biggest chelik along the Mediterranean. Anyway, about the colors. Let me talk to you about the color. Truth is, from the murex, you can make many colors. But just like it could be purple, It could be blue. What I want to do is I wanted just to be Masuder. What I did is I went through 8 Gemaras. 7 of the 8 Gemaras are difficulties. Let's say you answer all the difficulties. So my taina to them is, and I've spent hours talking to those involved, nothing political. If I told them from Terutzim, you don't make halachis. You have to have at least a raya from a Gemara, some type of a hechetimtza to bring a raya. There's no, all the Gemaras, you can answer. It's a different chalaz and sense. There's no place in Shas except the location. There's any mashmois towards this. Now add to that the Rambam. The Rambam says 3 things that don't shtim. First, he says it's a dag. A dag means fish. No? Dag means fish. If you go in Aristotle, there's a store selling dogim, you don't expect to get snails. It means a fish. Rashi in one place says a fish, in one place says telas, a worm. I don't know, maybe a worm is a snail, I don't know. But Tosfos and Shabas says it's a dag. The Rambam says it's a dag. Now their answer, they have a gra in Masechtas Kalim, I think Perek Yud Aleph, where he teaches a Mishnah there in Kalim, that kol masha nimtza b'yam kari dag. The things found in the yam are also called a dag. But since this is found in the yam, that's the answer that again, you can't buy a shita from every shverakai. But it's not a satisfactory teretz, and what's most difficult is the Rambam says that it's black, it's shachar. It's black. It's not black. It comes out clear. If you let it develop indoors, it turns purple. Outdoors, it turns blue. And it's very hard to get away from it. The Rambam A says it's a dag. B says it's black. And C, in making it, doesn't describe that you need sunlight. Now, is that a tiyufta? It could be. Maybe the halacha is not like the Rambam. But to try to shtup it into the Rambam and say dog doesn't mean dog. And shachar doesn't mean shachar. Shachar means if you leave it somewhere and it ages for a long time, it turns black. When he told me this, I said, what? If it ages, it turns black? The simon of techelet says that the tzeva is eina yafa, it never changes. He said, no. If you put it in wool, it never changes. But if you leave it out, then it could change. But that's what the Rambam meant. The Rambam is describing Ketzer Reisman. Mevi'en dam chalazim. Hu dachshtem mein le'inat chelas. V'dam shachar k'dyai. V'doisner sadam li'ayra. He means that if you leave it stay a long time, it turns black. And to me, it's a pella that anybody could say such a thing in the Rambam. It's a double pella. I think the Rambam is 0% chance that it's a... Why? The Gemara in one place seems to say that it has to be. And what you're saying is correct. I'll tell you, I pointed out to them that Rav Moshe certainly doesn't hold of what they're saying. Rav Moshe has one tshuva about the techelet. It's a tshuva on a different topic. The beginning of the tshuva, it's Yardei Beis Kuf Lamed Gimel. So I don't know, I wrote them where Rav Moshe says, they wrote me back, he doesn't say it. So I don't know, maybe I wrote them the wrong Maramokim, I don't know. Rav Moshe is bothered by a kasha. The kasha Rishayim asked. How could it be that techelet comes from the chalazin and you hit some amanim? Mechetesi. So Rav Moshe answers that since we know the Kabbalah techelet is blue, and since it comes out black, so therefore it must be it's with Eruv Samamanim. Vada Rabban Yitzvu B'dam Chalazim Levada Apostle Dein Zet Chela Shomer Torah. That's not Chela. So K'mo Shomer Rambam Dam Chalazim Asma Yushachar K'dyai Dein Yitzvu Chelas. I must have written the wrong Maramakim to them, or they looked it up in the wrong place. Rav Moshe is klar. He's talking about something else, and he's talking about how could you just add some on him? The Torah says Chelas. He says since it's black and the Kabbalah says it's blue, that's how we know. Now, whether Rav Moshe's lumdis is shver, is easy. Rav Moshe's zicha is 0% that he held that this is it. He says it's black when it comes out. In a million years, you're not going to get the murex to come out black. It comes out the color, like I said, of saliva. It's a cloudy clear. So to sum up, what I'm saying is zicha no gemaras except the location that have any mashmais. There are 3 major problems. The fact if the molecule is identical, it doesn't fit. The idea that you chayiv on seda, whatever you say about the nets, you chayiv on seda for catching a snail, that's also kosher ad ma'od. In the Torah Mother Journal, they answered it, but I don't understand the words. I can read you. It's a very short piece. I read you the words. Maybe if the person would be, he'd explain it. But he answered the question. But I can give it to you. You can look at it later. I got to read the words. You're not going to know. I don't think anybody can understand how it answers the question. But I have no problem. I'm saying it's not the Rambam. There's no raya from a Rashi or a Tosfos. There's no raya. You have Shverikaiten, and there's come out no raya except for the location, which is a raya. There's zero rayas to this particular creature being big. Now I'd like to add.
We know that there's only one creature that
there could be many that are called chalazim. Could they all be for tefillas? I don't know.
Anything that would make it, that comes from
maybe could be. I'm still working on one, but could be. Could be. Could be. Yeah.
When he says Taylor's first, he says Yoel, and then the next Raya down the line, he says black. Rashi itself says black. So it seems that I don't know what's going on.
Well, the way the Rambam describes it, it comes out black, and by boiling it in air, some of it turns blue.
So the first Rashi still have was the end.
The Yorek Rashi, I don't know how to answer. I don't know. It could be. I understand. It could be. It changes. I'm aware of it because I see that everyone talks about it. The Radzina in the Sefer, Avi Sefer in Techelet, he talks about the problem with the Rashi. There are a number of problems with Rashi. Rashi says in one place dag, in one place telas. It's also hard. Now, which one? The murex? The squid. The squid is carved black, yeah. Okay. There's a major problem with the Razina's Tchel. I think it's well known. I think it's pretty much accepted by 99% that the Razina was fooled, that he was incorrect. And yeah. But to talk about this, I want to add, whatever time will allow, a few nekudas about the Latin words, which they make a big spiel about the Latin words from which it comes. I think it's again misleading. It's easy to talk about subjects that people don't know about. As a matter of fact, they passed in the shuls recently a totally misleading piece of paper. It was in yeshiva also, and this was their new hanacha. And I don't think these are Talmidei Chachamim doing it, because they had that on the light spectrum, this particular color of blue reflects that 613 nanometers. 613 is Taryag. It's a raya. It's the right one. It's against some Kabbalistic raya. Now, besides the fact that the number of nanometers on a light spectrum is arbitrary, it doesn't come from Sinai, the thing itself was not true. The techelet wasn't true. And I'm telling you, was Nizbar, there's a a professor of optics in New Jersey. First, there's no such thing as exactly 613 on the light spectrum. Anything in the light spectrum is within a range. Nothing is always exactly, even to the eye it's the same color, it's not. And secondly, 613 nanometers on the light range is orange. It's not blue. What did they mean? There's a way of measuring. All light, all color comes from reflection. If you have all the colors, something is black. You separate in a spectrum, in a prism, you get different colors. Different, what? All colors is white, no colors is black. If you get something that reflects different colors of the spectrum, you end up with blue. If it reflects other colors. The murex dye, that color, reflects 613. It's really minus 613 in the spectrum. The spectrum was drawn up, it was inverted. It's really supposed to be down. Up would be orange. 613. By reflecting all the orange parts and red parts of the spectrum, you end up with blue. So that it was just such a misleading, and it was silly from the first place. What does 613 nanometers have to do anything with rayas? It was just certain things that are said with a absurdity, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't even be. The truth